Hey, welcome to another episode of DWAI TTPs, where we talk about stuff that you don't worry about. And today we have a very special guest. He is a member of Weapon Outfitters. And Jackson, why don't you introduce about yourself?
All right. Hey, my name's Jackson. I am the vice president of Weapon Outfitters, and I've just been in the gun industry since about 2011, where I first met, homie J Lo over there, and that's about it.
Yeah, so we have a real VIP on the show. We're legit now.
Yeah, we've made it. This is the
No,
foray into the real world.
that's my first podcast. I've made it.
Ooh, it's the first
I
for
feel,
a
I
lot.
feel like Senpai's finally recognized me. Thank you, Senpai.
Yeah. It's like the impressive title of VP, but then it's just like, oh, like who wants to talk to the VP of like a company? They want to talk to the CEO of the company, quote unquote.
Right, right.
So tell us like a funny story about like something that's gone on with Weapon Outfitters. Give us a little bit of that BTS.
BTS. I think there's a perception out there that, every day Weapon Outfitters is, you just have to like dodge naked titties on your way just to get some instant ramen, and a Coke to keep working and slaving away in the back of a cold, empty warehouse. But no, it's what have we done? What's a funny thing that we've done other than, I don't know. There was that one time I was working with Roy helping out on a photo shoot, and we had a some sort of like goth dominatrix like chained up, like hung upside down to the ceiling. It was her idea, by the way. And
Have we seen this photo set? Is that a released photo set?
No, I don't think it's ever been released. And I don't know if it's because like the only way we could keep suspended was myself or maybe Will were like cut into the frame, and maybe that's just hard to photo shoot out. I don't know. But at one point I had this like leather clad clam like kind of in my face when she flipped upside down, and I was like trying to keep the hoist. I don't know. It was a very awkward setup. And if you've ever been in the back of the old warehouse, we just moved. There are still like chains like anchored to the ceiling that we use for this photo shoot, and we just never took them down. So there are always these like annoying chains like rattling off the shelving. So like you like are trying to get like some sort of product down, like an upper receiver or something, and like it's like catching on these stupid fucking chains that are always in the way. Yeah, it's just one of those things.
So what you're telling me is that, because I think the perception that people have of Weapon Outfitters when they look at the media that you guys post, you got like your retail website. And so the capitalizing point is that, we have like these models, right, that we're showing off guns, we're showing off, beautiful ladies. And so basically like everyone who is going to Weapon Outfitters and seeing this kind of stuff, their perception is that this is basically the Playboy of the gun industry, where you're walking around and it's always a party. There's like just like lingerie clad like women that you're like gonna walk through and like basically like tripping over like all these like cool guns, like night vision and like just high end gear, and like you got all these like basically like super elite tier operator buff dudes just hanging around shooting the shit, shooting sims in the warehouse, and like got their cat ears on, like so like is this an accurate representation of the lifestyle that Weapon Outfitters puts out there, right?
Well, if Roy transitions from like Arc'teryx and Solomons to robes and slippers, we're a little bit closer there. Then I think that would be a good look, like a pipe and the slippers, tripping over guns is true, but that's mostly because it's sometimes chaotic and just a mess. And, like we would have to, before we were having to like tear down part of the warehouse to make room for a photo studio and cutting operations. So it's like, yeah, you're always like dodging, just friggin' uppers that were like kicking around with like EOTechs and malls on them. Like, who cares? We're kind of, jerks like that, I guess. But
416 with PEC 15s,
trash. Yeah,
just
trash.
laying along the floor.
Crap out of here. Yeah.
Yeah, if it can't survive a photo shoot, it can't survive Battlefield.
That's right.
That's a true test.
That is the true test.
if it can survive being held by like caressed up against like a naked woman, right?
Yeah, we haven't. We should be selling like scent packages, right? So like we just have them like rub the pecs on their armpits and then sell those like as an upgraded
Oh
little
my
thing. So
god.
you can,
Wow, that's
Why
taking
not?
the Japanese panties like to the
Yeah,
next
that
Yeah.
is the
next level.
first
Look,
thing I thought of. We just said it's
I
like
mean,
he's selling like used panties or used socks.
Mhm.
It's like that is next level. That you know
Hey.
what? That's an untapped market. I feel like
that's an
you get
NFT right there. That's what that is.
you get a
Wow.
little gun grease in there. You get
Mhm.
you can have it like do you want CLP? Do you want like gun oil, like rim oil? Like I think that's an untapped market.
Right.
But
No,
see,
it's,
how do you know? How do you know if it's like if it's the scent of a woman or if it's a scent of like the balls of like a sweaty operator guy? You know
Ooh,
what I
what
mean?
if
Like
that's what they're
you're
into
not.
though? Like,
Oh.
like, hey, it's a diverse market, right? It's like
It
some
is.
people want the the waifus, and then but some people want that sweaty operator musk maybe.
Operator
Weapon
musk. That
outfitters.
would be, yeah. I like that. It's like a
like
mixture of like hops and WD-40
yeah,
and like
it's and
100-mile-an-hour tape and
and a little chew,
Ocean
right?
Connex. Yeah, a little bit of
Yeah.
chew.
Ooh,
A chew cup
yeah.
mixed with the smell of like rusty Connex. Yeah.
In like a little one of those like like oil bottles, like then you
Mhm.
market that as like a cologne operator musk.
I
A
think
little
we're
bit
on
of
something
goat
here.
oil, and to mix in with your beard oil to keep
Yep,
your
yep.
skin hydrated. I get it.
See, see.
Yeah.
I think you know what? Maybe a new product, and you guys can have it for free.
Actually, funny enough, I was having the distinction of being the most unpublished Weapon Outfitters model.
Actually, that's true.
That's
Oh,
true.
wow.
I think I did get like 2 photos, like once of me and Eva, but anyway, it's funny. It's just a running joke because we keep giving Roy shit about it. But that actually one photo led to one time, if you remember Alaska Mauve, when she was shooting with Weapon Outfitters a bunch, she got contacted by some dude who was a videographer. And he's like, hey, who's this guy? And it was a picture of me with like in the snow or something. I had a pretty full beard at the time. He was just like, we need him for a beard oil commercial and you. So next thing I know, like, I'm working with Alaska and we like drive out to like Mount Rainier to go shoot a beard oil commercial or what was going to become one. And, the directors are like, they got like 7 or 8 people there. There's some like dudes that look like they're out of a black metal band, or they just play too much D&D. It was hard to tell. And then like some like really like REI catalog looking bro, and then myself, and then like Alaska and a couple other chicks. And so they paired all of us off, and they were having us do this shoot. And so the theme was, this is back in the day. It tells you how long ago it was. Like the theme was, it was late on the zombie train. So it was like we crash landed somewhere in Mount Rainier and there's like zombies and like we have to pair off and it's like survival and like, all this like cheesy shit. And so it was like somehow beard oil was what kept us alive or kept us together or something. I don't know. It was
This feels like a whole nother level of cheese.
oh, it was bad. But luckily it never got published. Wallahi, may it never see the light of day. But eventually I did get paid for it, so that was kind of nice.
Okay, all right.
So
So
I could say,
you are a professional model. You're
I
a
can
paid
say,
model.
yeah, I'm a paid model. No, it's true.
there
It's
you
true.
go.
And I did runway back in the day, like twice for a friend who did like a local clothing company. I got paid in booze, and that was nice. And then I got to like flirt with the models, although that didn't ever go anywhere. But I did end up in the Tucson Weekly. There's a photo of me kind of blitzed dancing with like 2 middle-aged like Latina moms that like not in an ideal way, like, but whatever,
That's pretty
was
good.
yeah.
All right, so let's. I've been meaning to ask you to talk about this because this is actually an original idea that I'm pretty sure you're the founder of this, but we
Okay.
need to discuss mid-tier mic. Because
Okay.
I think there's not enough mid-tier mic awareness out there. So.
Right. No, we really do need to get.
So because Jeremy
our
just
middies
told
up.
me about this,
Mhm.
like literally, like like not too long ago, he just mentioned it, and then
Yeah.
we didn't get too deep into it, but it makes sense. Like even from the name of it, mid-tier mic, I think it makes sense.
Okay.
But
Um,
for I guess for people that don't understand, you want to like elaborate a little bit.
yeah, and if you guys need photos, reference material, if you will,
Ah,
I can always do that too. How did that start? So Weapon Outfitters is like we have like a lot of premium parts and accessories, and we've carried a lot of different brands, but we try to like curate and distill for quality. Um, and some of my guns are okay. They're okay-ish. I don't have any like super. I have a couple like premium guns, if you will, with like Hodge and LMT, blah blah blah, whatever. But it was before they passed the Washington Bill 1639. I went through and I bought a few lowers that day, and one of them was at a West Coast Issaquah or West Coast Armory in Issaquah, and they had this Spikes Crusader lower that someone like just never came to pick up for like 6 months or more. So they were just like, "Well, it's yours if you want it. It's on sale." And I was like, "Okay, sale, let's do it." Like, I don't care how cringe this Crusader lower is. I think it's kind of funny actually. But I picked that up, and everyone kind of laughed and made fun of me. Never mind that I bought an LMT Mars lower that day too. But so of course, at first I get to setting up this spikes lower. I'm like, I'm going to build this thing, and I was like, well, what am I going to pair this lower with? Like, what is this thing going to go together with? And we had at the time like a used rail from marketing for like a Centurion CMR rail, which is a perfectly great rail. Like we carry CMR a lot. Love Centurion arms. I think they make a lot of great stuff. But this is when everyone's like, "Oh, I want to get a Hodge rail. It's got to have a titanium barrel nut." So the market perception of what's like top tier, has kind of like adjusted. Let's say. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get a Centurion barrel. Well, how am I going to do this thing? Like, I don't want to break the bank, and so I'm kind of going through like the old parts bin and stuff, and I'm looking and I'm realizing that all these things that I have are like, they're not bad, but they're not like the hotness. They're not like the sexy Gucci gun that everybody wants. And I'm like, well, you know what? I'm going to make the most okayest gun that I can with these set of parts. A barrel from Psionics. It's chrome lined, but it's not hammer forged.
Okay.
Generic upper receiver that's it's proper material, but it's not dry film lubed. Like a bull carrier group. I think I started with a Toolcraft bull carrier group that I got for like $80, which it's not good. But put like a Springco spring in it, extractor spring, kind of help it help its reliability, because that was kind of soft. Using like Voltor A5 components. So it's kind of a combination of like low, mid, and a couple high end components in there just to kind of like round it all out. But I was looking at this gun, and actually, I think Jeremy, maybe you were there like when we were like sitting there riffing about it. And
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
think I was there for some of the decision making on that gun.
Yeah, and I don't know, it just kind of clicked because I was like, I don't remember what we were calling, like, friggin', like the Hodge guns or the Gucci guns, but I'm like, yeah, this gun's okay. This gun's not bad. It's, it's pretty mid. It's like a mid tier. It's mid tier mic. And so we started just memeing about mid tier mic, MTM hashtag. And I don't know, just kind of kept going from there. And actually that was it was an 11.5 pistol that I ended up taking to Darcy with me, because it was just like, okay, it's my 11.5 gun. I've shot it with my suppressor a bunch. I'm gonna be shooting sims, so this should be good enough. It's just it's not too long. It's just the right size, something that you want for like an event like Darcy LETC1, which I thoroughly got thrashed at, as anyone would, especially for their first time.
Hey, that's
But
a
I
pretty
took
cool experience though. So don't
no.
yeah.
don't drop that down. Like that's pretty badass.
It totally was, and the gun did great, except for like I think it was the first run. Because people told me like, all right, when you're shooting stims through your gun, make sure you have a clean gun.
Yes.
So I took that to be, okay, I got a clean gun. I forgot the part where they said make it a clean and dry gun. Because if there's oil,
yeah.
people don't know, there's like
yeah.
oils left over in your barrel. They'll gum up the sims as they're traveling down the barrel, and then eventually your barrel will get plugged. So on our first big run, as a single cell unit going through the building, my rifle totally went down, and for separate reasons of idiocy, my pistol totally went down. So I'm like going through, just getting fucking lit up like from the windows, and like trying to unfuck these two guns. Neither of them worked. So then all I had at that point was like the OKW light on my gun to like flash people in the eyes with and like go and like, run up and like poke them in the chest with the barrel or something, which is totally
Hey, but that OKW though,
well, that thing,
dominance, right?
dude, luminescent or photonic dominance, totally. No, that thing fucking slaps. That's the OKW is really sick. But anyway, the mid-tier mic, after that did okay. Yeah, I loaned my gun out to some people to try the mall that hadn't got a chance to do that. It was a loaner mall, it wasn't mine. But took it to Darcy later on, maybe just to prove a point. Because if you go, I got to attend SOTAR, School of the American Rifle, over with Chad in Maryland, and just to see, like, I brought a few different parts from the shop that were like laying around to be like just to gauge them, see how they do. And then I brought.
Give us a little bit of heads up because some people might not know like what SOTAR's about. So just like a quick summary of like what they represent.
Right. So School of the American Rifle, Chad is kind of an unaffiliated gunsmith armorer that has a YouTube channel. Check it out, where he does a lot of inspection, gauging, and does a deep dive into the construction of different brands. So you might see him like inspect a Knight's Armament bolt carrier group and go into like very nuanced measurement of all the critical dimensions. Purpose of that is he's kind of tabulated a body of knowledge where he could measure everything and every individual component within a gun before it's assembled and kind of give you an idea how well it's actually going to run. Also finding where there might be like interference or industrial wear on different components. So like if your bolt carrier group is too short, your carrier key is going to be slapping into the back of the lower receiver, and that is eventually, or at some point, it probably could lead to a critical failure where maybe like your lower receiver cracks at the buffer tube, receiver extension tube.
Okay.
So he does. He puts out a lot of great information that has really like changed and elevated people's understanding how the AR-15 platform works. For the better.
So how did your mid-tier mic measure up at SOTAR?
Yeah, it was funny because I just brought it because it was like the gun that I've probably got the most time on from my AR-15s right now. So I was like, well, I might as well rebuild this one and make sure that it's totally up to snuff. So I took that one there, and he's got gauges that show you a range from like red to green, go, no go, etc. And so it was like my Silence barrel, V7 upper receiver, spikes lower, Voltor tube, blah 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 blah. And from all the critical dimensions and gauges and specs he gave me, because he comes by, shows you how to use the tools, and then gives you a reading on what your stuff, where it measures. And in all but like two categories, I was hitting goes and greens, and then there's like two categories where like I think my bolt carrier was like too short, so it was like, or something was bottoming out, so I had to put like a quarter in my buffer tube, which is like an interesting little trick just to keep it from getting too short. So gauged and tested really well, which was kind of funny because there's another gentleman in the class, and he was building the full Gucci Hodge forward controls gun. And with the fancy lower receiver, the C405 lower receivers, and upper, and with all these parts are super hard to get. They're really premium. They're really nice. And keep in mind, like when you gauge an individual part, it doesn't mean the gun's not going to work. It doesn't mean that it's trash and you have to throw it away. It just means this is your tolerance range. This is where it's at, and here's ways you can correct and mitigate these tolerance issues. Between like the threading of your receiver extension tube and your castle nut, blah blah blah. So none of these measurements mean that like your gun's not going to work unless you're like all in the reds. But it's just funny because I was hitting greens on all these things with these parts that are they're considered okay. They're considered or cringe, if you will, like maybe the spikes Crusader lower. But these gauges and tools, like some of these things cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to acquire because this is like really precise instrumentation. And for me, in this one instance, sample size one, I just got super lucky because any manufacturer can have
It's not that
deviations.
helmet one, by the way. It's just the.
But I wanted people to see it.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's just I just got really lucky. Yeah, no, it's not that one. That one's pretty sick. It's the one right there with the cross. It's the Deuce Volt one with the cross in the middle of the screen. That one. Yeah, it's that receiver.
What, you
Parabellum.
don't want the you don't
You
don't
know,
want the full
I'll
night arm.
I'll upgrade if this podcast
Whoa.
helps me get an upgrade. I'll upgrade. Like, let's go for it. I don't care.
Spikes reaches out. Hey, listen, we
Yeah.
heard it. We heard about your podcast. We want to sponsor you.
Yeah, this definitely feels like whatever you build, you're gonna need a bayonet and probably a long one at the end too.
This is a 20-inch gun for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then for silver controls, definitely.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you're saying mid-tier mic is go for green.
Go for
basically.
green, bro. Yeah, it gauged hot. It was great. And the the guy with the hot parts, and it like the gun came together fine, cycled fine. I had no issues. I actually had some issues with feeding, and actually my extractor spring being too aggressive and ripping casings. Whereas like when his gun was fully assembled, it was properly tuned. So it doesn't mean anything like when you gauge like in a yellow without there being like some steps you can take or just some awareness. Like, so if you have like, if you thread in your receiver extension tube in your receiver and you measure the threads and all these things, if there's some looseness in your castle nut on the threads, there's actually a way you can mitigate that he recommends from a gunsmith perspective, where you would take like Vibratite to help seal that up in addition to staking. So like in some situations, maybe your castle nut, your receiver extension tube, when everything's assembled, staking may not be enough because there's enough play within the threads that it can create a little bit of vibration. You may not notice when it's all torqued down, but under high-speed camera, like that castle nut actually has like a little bit of play. So if you take up some of that slack with a sealing compound like Vibratite, something that you can obviously use to disassemble later, actually will enhance the reliability of the system overall because you're taking out that slack, if that makes sense.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that today's podcast would actually be like a
Tips and
teaching
tricks.
lesson.
Yeah. Like you mean like TTPs?
Whoa.
Yeah, have you guys explained what that means on the show? Like what we were joking about?
Yeah. I mean, that's basically. Actually, we have to give Jackson here a little bit of credit for that, because the idea for tactical tableaus and personalities was actually, I mean, he's one of the founding members. So basically, that's a little joke that we kind of have around at the office, and basically, it's just a way for us to kind of joke around about things going on in the industry, because the gun industry, for some reason, is just chock full of drama.
Oh,
the best.
The drama is the best. Like,
people say they hate it, but come on, we're all having fun.
Hey, I mean, it's Mean Girls all over again.
I mean, some people are having fun. Okay, you can't have drama without someone not having fun.
Yeah, you're right. Well, so speaking of drama, I think the other day, Jax, you'd mentioned something about nickel boron.
Oh, I kind of came late to this, and I don't know how this might seem a little too topical from whenever this gets posted, because you know how fast memes move.
Yeah,
the speed of memes and all. But I think that was actually one thing that came up at Sotar, where we were kind of like riffing on nickel boron, mostly because it was like anyway. There's a whole funny history of that, but I guess Joe Rogan's in trouble for some jokes he made back in the day as a comedian, or some words he used, and who isn't? Yeah. It's coming for all of us, whatever. It's what you do now. It's who you are now. See, there's some nickel boron. Oh, beautiful, isn't it? Isn't it beautiful?
Oh yeah, that shiny chrome.
Shiny chrome. Well, I don't remember when this first came out, but I remember working at West Coast Armory back in like 2012 or something, and nickel boron was like the hotness. Like you wanted that.
I remember that phase. Yeah,
that fail zero nickel boron carrier, self lubricating,
which is really funny. because like
So slick.
yeah, and then people see like service rifles or work rifles with like silver bolts, and they're like, oh, they're using nickel boron. It's like, but the joke is, it's like they've just been so old that it's just like stripped, like it's just like stripped, it's like silver. It's just polished
Yeah.
to silver, like just
There's no
scratched
more
to all beat.
phosphate.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. It's all beat to hell.
Rob will
So
carry
so
Phosphate's
so
dead.
so it looks like it's like nickel boron or chrome, but really it's just a regular bolt with all the finish and like just basically polished smooth and silver, which is really
Don't-
funny.
Don't get
Because-
into military M9s.
Oh yeah, dude.
Is that
like,
inox?
Dude, I love that. I'm like, oh shit, it's like silver M9s. It's like, oh no, it's just hella beat up.
Well, you listen to your drill sergeant in basic training, and they're like yelling at you to get this thing like friggin' spotless. So like all throughout the military, you have to like take a steel wool brush and scrub your parts to get all the oil and all the all the carbon off, and you're taking off the finish. You're taking off
100%.
material. You're actually like that was one thing Chad was like riffing about it. Sotar was like, people polish their bolts to the point that they remove material from the lugs.
Yep.
Now your bolt has slop inside the barrel extension, and it's like it's nuts. So it's funny because I did that because I was in the Army. That's what you're trained to do. So
And then through 100 rounds, eventually it's gonna wear away the part. Like it's just it's a terrible teaching method, and I hate it.
it was. And I even still, like to this day, I drop my firing pin in from the top like I was taught to in the Army. And like, yes, you don't have to go in through the top. You can go in through the cut in the carrier, and it's, it works even better. But I do it the way I was taught, damn it. So,
but you can do it blindfolded though. That's the important part.
But yeah, the nickel boron thing was pretty funny because Joe Rogan's getting raked over the coals for the reasons that the media hates him. I would say because of his interviews with some pretty prominent and authoritative people that have been debunking narratives. So of course they don't like him. So they bring out some old clips of him saying mean things, or not even mean things, just jokes that people can't take anymore. So he uses the N-word and whatever. So what was it? Mike Michalski, if I'm pronouncing his last name right. Probably am not. Apologize. But Mike from Sons of Liberty, one of the co-owners, he had this post on Instagram, which if you pulled up either the Sons of Liberty Instagram or his, he goes off and it's like 2 paragraphs of this like long apology of him using the N-word back in the day. And I'm like, no, Mike, say it isn't so. No. Like he's like he's about to go down in flames. It's one of the
Rogan,
first 2.
Like right up
it's
the top left. I think.
It's that one right there.
Yeah.
And next to the one with him and Rogan. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So he goes off and it's like 2 paragraphs in and you're like, oh no, Mike's about to go down. Sons of Liberty's stonks are about to go down. And he's like, look, I said it back in the day and I used to, preach it. I used to joke about it. He's like, but nickel boron, saying that is not a joke. You can't learn something to that effect. It's just
what a class act. That is funny. I like that.
Man, that's actually really good.
But it's a great joke, and he's showing solidarity with Rogan because, like,
that's
I don't
amazing marketing right there.
It was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Like, that's the only way you can diffuse a situation like that is to just counter it with jokes and memes.
And there's guys and like everyone's like understanding the joke, like chocolate operators in there, and like I mean. Yeah, I think everyone kind of gets it what he's doing, but it was pretty funny. But it goes to show like Mike's probably one of the most learned men in the industry for AR-15s, and back in the day, I think everyone was like, "Holy crap! Here's this new snake oil awesome finish. Like it's going to be great. We'll just nickel bore on everything. Nickel bore on the bolt, the barrel extension. It's going to be awesome. We should just nickel bore on the whole gun." Well, it turns out as soon as you shoot it, it's dirty. And it's never clean again because it's not actually like a non-porous plating. It's a porous metal finish that has, just little tiny pockets that trap carbon in it. And then, so once you shoot it, it's dingy. And that's not too big of a problem, but in certain environments, not only is it dingy and you can't really get it clean, but those pockets, moisture can settle in there. And then now you have micro, like little holes filled with pockets of rust that you can't ever really get down into. So it's kind of shit. Yeah, no, it's shit. And then
that's rough. That is rough.
Yeah.
Bad manufacturers would take, the standard bulk carrier group and they would just throw some plating on it, so throw some nickel boron on it. Well, now you just increased the critical dimensions by like 1,000 or whatever, and now you have something that's actually not going to fit inside your gun, especially
So
if your
you're
gun
saying it
itself
doesn't
has plating.
gauge?
It doesn't gauge. Ooh, I'm gonna gauge.
See, so it's the same. It's the same thing with high. It's the high point problem. That's why you always get the silver high point, because they don't put finish on it, so it actually runs more reliably.
You saying that
No.
one's more reliable than the $1 million or the $100 one?
All you need is
$100
to
one?
just paint thinner it and take the finish off.
Yeah,
And then it'll
so
work
so
fine.
so they machine
Yep.
it to like tolerance, but then their finish adds bulk, which is actually lowers the reliability. So you
Because
just
it's what, just barbecue paint, basically?
On the high points?
Basically.
Yeah,
I mean, like
okay.
when you look at a high point, it
Yeah,
looks
it
like the
looks
side
like-
of a barbecue.
yeah, it's
you
like a
know?
truck liner. They literally just took like one of those like insta bed truck liners and then just spray it. It looks like
It's thin rhino liner, basically.
yeah.
So then, like, yeah, if you take some paint thinner and you just strip off all the finish, high points are super reliable.
good enough.
I actually want a high point though. Not gonna lie, I've been memeing so long. I need to go buy one or three.
Yeah, I respect. You know what? That company, they know what they're doing, in that they know what they're putting out, and they know
Yep.
who their customers are, and they don't apologize. I actually follow them on Instagram because I'm like, you know what? I respect this company.
You got to be like our friend Adam, who has the 24 karat gold Desert Eagle.
Ooh.
And at the same time, he purchased the $100 money print high point.
The one, this one,
And then, like, the first thing he did when he got both guns was he held both of them, one in each hand, and then crossed his hands across his chest.
Oh,
That dude
God.
is the G.
Where's that picture?
Like a straight up G.
What a legend.
I don't
That is a
know. I don't
legend.
know if that photo can be put out for public consumption, but it's in the hidden archives out there.
Okay. You got to just censor his face out or something,
Yeah,
or
that's
he
fine.
can just let us borrow it, and then you guys make a video with the two.
By the
side
way,
side.
he is like one of our biggest early supporters. I mean, every time okay, so Jackson has purchased one of our t-shirts from way, way back in the day. So if you have one of those
Ready for some
shirts,
new merch.
you are OG merch. Like,
That's true.
it's like Supreme collector. But basically,
Mhm.
like, so Jackson,
No
he's
reprints.
rocking it. And then Adam is one of our like early supporters where, I think it was like, I can't remember what, he invited me to his wedding and he wore that shirt under his tux. At his wedding, dude. Like,
That's awesome.
at the reception, I was like, hey, congratulations, man. Like, this is so awesome. And then he was like, hang on one second. And he unbuttons his tux and shows me the shirt. And I'm like, you are the fucking man.
What a mad lad.
Yeah.
An actual mad lad.
Yeah. For real.
Funny.
I remember that time we went to TriggerCon, Jeremy, and we're like rolling around on like range day or whatever, and from like across the field, it was Milspec Mojo recognized you. And like, was like, oh, dude, I'm such a freaking big fan. Blah, blah, blah. Like, I was like, holy shit! Like, yeah, that's my dude.
Yeah,
Like, I was.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah, like, Mojo's cool, man. I think
he
like
is
when I
cool.
met him, I was like kind of like, oh, like a little bit fangirling, and then like I was like, can you like pretend to arrest me and then like take a picture? And he totally did it. I was like, oh, that's awesome, dude.
Did you ever post that? Did you ever post that?
I think so. I can't remember if I did. It might have just been like a story post. It might not have been like on the wall. But dude, I heard recently, did he get fired?
I don't know.
So I'm not
He was in a
sure.
video. Last time I saw him was in a video with Grantham, and I think he was at SHOT Show, but I didn't say. I don't know him, so I didn't say hi.
I think he might have gotten fired because of the vaccination issue.
Oh, did he? He didn't kneel?
Oh wait, I think on the back page, go back to the Google page. I think they're one of the first. I think he was fired because he decided not to not get.
So he's a crazy conspiracy theorist, alt-right terrorist, won't get a vaccine.
Man. I mean, we have. Yeah, we have a lot of friends who, are in like first responder, and like this is a tough situation for them. So.
Yeah.
Not to get too political, but it is
Mhm.
one of those things where it's like that's a tough situation.
Well, there are agencies that are hiring, so if he's going to stay in that line of work, I know Snohomish County's hiring, which is not far from where he lives in Western Washington. So, like, there's other options out there if that's what he was going to do. So I hope he lands on his feet, or if he goes into the YouTube world or content or trainer world, he's going to do well because he's a hell of a shooter. So
Yeah.
all the best to him. But good for him if that's what it was, and he stood his ground. Like I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah.
Good guy. I remember watching that clip where he just shoves a Sig Mag into a Glock, and then and just makes it work.
How many guys that run Glocks are carrying one spare Sig Mag now in their kit just to be like, in case my buddy goes down?
Yeah, that's funny. But I do kind of want to circle back to mid-tier Mike because I think it's a funny concept.
Okay.
Would you? I mean, in your experience,
should we define what it should be if someone wants to build one?
Yeah, so like that's all I was kind of getting at, and and also I do want to talk like through the years, like because me and Jeremy talked about this. Like, you remember back in the day when to get started, all you needed was like a rifle, like your bone spare, maybe like 6920 with and then a sling, and then if you were a little bit Guccier,
Bro,
you just need a red
rich
dot.
Man if you had a 6920.
No, but that's what I meant.
You were buying Rock River.
Okay, fine, like Rock River, right? Or like you know what I mean? Like that was back in the day. Like, but that's what I meant. To get started, all you needed was like and high tier. Even not, it would be like you had a Colt and a red dot and a sling. You were like done.
Yep.
And then Magpul furniture. You're like, oh shit, this guy's operator, right? But like now it's like, people, the guns come with Magpul and people throw them away.
Yeah, just get this crap out of here. Mo,
Yeah,
I don't know you.
It's like it's definitely like moving up. We're definitely hitting the point where it's like almost toxic. I mean, it is, but it's kind of like now we just shit on people. That's like, what is that? Like Anderson lower. It's like, get it out of here, right?
No, not even. Your gun doesn't have a laser on it.
You're
not
right.
a goon.
Okay, well, right. here's a confessional.
So where do you like draw the line now, right?
Right.
So.
So let's preface the definition of mid-tier Mike with a couple statements, because I get this a little bit when I have guys that maybe they're new to shooting or like they're kind of casual about it. They're like, they show me their gun and it's like a Springfield Saint or something, and they're like apologizing. They're being like, yeah, I know it's not this, I know it's not that. It's like, dude, like, one, I don't care. Like, you should see the fucking crap that I have. Like, some of it's not good. They're like, it's like some of my really shitty tattoos that I don't show people. It's like people, you collect for a while. You're gonna have some stuff here you're not too stoked on, but you can make a lot of stuff work. Second, there is Kyle Rittenhouse is the Yeet Master 3000 with a sight mark and like an Anderson or something.
And he used a forward assist. So
you can make do. Like, if all I had was my Rock River, back in the day, it was like the heavy barrel, the UTG quad rail, the Troy flip ups, and I think I had an EOTech 512 on there, which was pretty good. That was probably the best decision I made in that era. But you can make do with a lot. So I don't know. I don't, even though we do sell like a distilled selection of product that we favor some of the premium brands. It's because they put the QC in, not because it's like Gucci for Gucci's sake. Generally speaking, you're going to get something that's like the BRT, the B5 Badger, LMT Knights. Like they put the time in to make sure like they're not just throwing finished parts in a package without checking their work.
So I think what people want to know is, do you judge an MTM based on the sum total of components or each individual component?
Or is it just hitting a criteria of performance? Like, does it fit, like the checkbox basically?
So how would you define it? It's kind of like an amalgamation of price, individual components, and then the sum of all parts. So like, in my mid-tier mic build, it was kind of like what I had sitting around. So like the lower is, maybe kind of cringe, but I put a Voltor A5 system in there. Okay. It's a mil-spec parts kit, but like some of the small parts are LMT, like an LMT safety. So, it's really positive, really crisp, but it's just your standard right hand 90-degree throw. a Centurion arms rail, which is a good rail, but it's not maybe a titanium, extruded 2055 aluminum lithium, super rail or whatever. It's like it's good, it's solid. Like it came back to the barrel, the Psionics barrel. They make great stuff, but the barrel is chrome lined, but it's not hammer forged. So maybe it's going to run out a little faster, or maybe it's just a melanited barrel. Like it's basically if you're spending about the median within any price range, then you're kind of on the right track. My upper was like a V7 upper, which tends to be a little bit more expensive. But inside, in the guts was basically like a refurbished Toolcraft bolt carrier group with like I think I might have swapped out and ended up putting my BCM bolt in there with like a whatever Radian charging handle or something. So like the sum of all parts was like, it was like okay-ish. Oh, and then I had a Vortex AMG Huey, which is, probably like the mid-tier version to an EOTech with a Unity riser. And then I think one of the Guccier things on that rifle was probably the mod light with the switch, which in some places you got to splurge a little bit. But
so I've gone on the quest to build a mid-tier mic, and
you had a harder time with this than I did.
I'm here to offer up this sacrifice to the mid-tier mic, overlords, right? to see if it passes the test.
You tried to go down in the trenches with mid-tier mic. I was born in it. So
yeah,
I mean, I had to elevate myself, from the poors to the mids, and mid is where I live.
Listen, so. me coming from my white adjacent privilege here to offer this LMT Defender lower, BCM Blem upper. I've got a BRT 11.5-inch suppressor optimized barrel. Aimpoint T1 on a Unity riser.
2 MOA or 4 MOA?
2 MOA. 2 MOA. Full CRT or a CTR stock on an LMT buffer tube, Noveski end plate with a law folder, Radian charging handle, BCM bolt carrier, Badger ambi selector, Reptilia CQG grip with a LaRue MBT trigger, Guding Gear magwell, and Surefire dual fuel, a Mall C1, and a Samson stubby M-Lock grip with a Sierra tack sling.
All I heard was buzzwords and name brands. I feel like.
Oh wait. Oh, sorry. Hodge M-Lock, Hodge wedge lock.
You lost it. You
are literally the lieutenant trying to land nav. You are so far off the point. You're not even on the range anymore. Like we can't even find you. Like you're gonna have to pop smoke so we can fucking find you.
All right, I'm gonna need you. Here's what you do. Okay, I'm gonna counsel you on this. If you want to come down to mid, you're gonna have to pop that buffer tube off. An arrow enhance. Arrow enhance buffer tube. Or just maybe, just a bone stock, 6 position mil spec. But you're rocking the LMT. It's got that nice gray finish. Like if you know, that's so I'm gonna need you to tone that down a little bit. Is it a 90-degree safety, right hand only, or is it a ambi short throw?
This is the 60-degree Badger ambi.
Oh man, you need a full top to bottom rework.
Let's pump the brakes there. Okay, so that's gonna have to go. We're gonna have to throw in either like a standard ambi safety or maybe a Radian Talon. Okay, and I only say that because it's like one of the most ubiquitous safeties now, and it's about the mid price point. It's a good safety.
Yeah. It is a really good safety.
The Badger's too gooch. Too much gooch.
Badger is gooch.
The Badger is nice though. Holy shit. Like,
you said it's a Hodge wedge lock?
Yeah, Hodge 1075 black wedge lock.
That's
And
way
is
too
is
gooch.
the muzzle device pinned, or can you pop that
Oh no,
pretty
no,
easy?
it's 11.5. So
11.5. Okay.
actually, it's gonna have a Surefire on there when my Surefire
Mhm.
cans come in. So that'll be a Surefire closed time war comp.
Okay, so that rail, that needs to tone it down too, just a little bit. Is it a steel barrel nut or titanium? It's titanium, isn't
Obviously
it?
titanium. It has to be
Okay.
because the wedge locks
Okay.
come with TI barrel nuts.
Nope, you're gonna have to downgrade to steel or change the rail. Yeah, you're not mid. You're not mid. You can't even be mid if you try.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Get out of
Yeah.
here. This is
Get
funny
out of here.
because as Jackson's like describing mid-tier mic, I'm like mid-tier mic is all I've ever strived to be up. Like in fact, I keep trying to go down. So like let's put it this way. It's only within the last 4 years have I had a laser on my gun or even a light and optic. And not even every single one of my gun has slings on them. Like I
See,
think
the problem
I
is
think I am so low. I like wade in the pores. Like this is where I live.
yeah, but the problem is when like you're usually like floating around in that because you're like, okay, you know what, this is a great deal I came across. Even though it's not high tier, you'll just pick it up and use it, and it's like whatever. But then when you go Gucci, it's like a Gucci that like nobody can touch. Like for example, some of the parts that you have are just like, oh yeah, this optic or scope that I picked up, it's only 40 were ever made in Switzerland, and
Yeah.
I basically like I just happened to trip and stumble across it, and then it's just like so what does it go on? It's like, just like a legendary AK-5 Swedish rifle that nobody even has in the
has.
United
Yeah.
States.
I mean, I don't have it either,
outta
so
here.
it's like
Get
so it's
outta
not
here.
helping anybody.
and then you're just like, I'm just gonna stick it on this mid-tier mic build.
I just instead of buying a laser, I just put an ISMV on my M4. It's
I only use lasers when it's integrated into the optic.
Yeah. When it's integrated and discontinued, that's the only time I use it. But
some guy was gonna sell me. Fu, you might remember these, the Mars sights.
Oh yeah, dude, those are so cool. Yeah,
someone had a fallen off the truck special, and was gonna sell one to me, and I was like, it's like a weak laser with a crappy pressure pad that like is too short to go anywhere useful in this ugly like Stargate style looking optic. But because it was one of the optics they issued to us during the like the RDI sequence, like when I was in the Army, it was like 2005, and like we're about to go to Iraq, and so they just sent us this like crate of just accessories, and it was like grip pods and like ACOGs and aim points and anything they could get their hands on, and it was for some reason, because I didn't know any better, I was drawn to the Mars site, and I was like, oh, this thing's so cool, look, it's got a laser. Oh, sweet. And I had that on my rifle for like a little bit, and then zeroed it, and then of course when we deployed, like they did a bunch of gear swaps and it was retarded, so we had to re-zero everything when we got there. So I ended up not using it, but that's probably for the best. So.
I think the highest I would ever go is mid-tier mic. Like I have my Cold Carbine 14.5, and the most Gucci thing I own, the only rail I roll is I have a free float quad rail. Am I doing it right? I don't even have ambi selector. Actually, the gun is pretty much boat stock, actually.
Bro.
But you're
need.
using the Knights Armament free float too short rail, like the one that's the Riz, but it's free float.
Yeah.
And then he has the folding PRI gas block front sight. Is it a PRI or is it a different? I forgot what brand it is. But
it's PRI.
It's almost
it's
not a clone. But it's clone-ish.
No, it is a clone. It is a clone, but it's a clone of something you might not think of.
Okay.
It is a clone, though. It is a clone.
Oh my god! Did you really?
Yeah.
This is my M4. This is my rifle.
Oh,
this is my
awesome. Build. With the full Knight's vert grip and the car stock.
It's actually pretty sick.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. I'm actually kind of jelly.
but that tells you that is my Gucciest gun. Like,
Yeah.
no cap.
I
This
don't
is
know.
the
The
only
Black
gun I
Hawk Down,
actually.
I feel like, is pretty Gucci too.
Yeah, that was, but yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Black Hawk Down because that
I
was more of
think
a.
just on principle, clones can't be mid tier, even if it is like a weird mishmash of parts.
I see. Okay.
Especially
Okay.
because it's Knight's Rail. That thing's like $400.
Yeah, you're right.
And the Knight's
You
vertical
see-
grips retail like $70 right now. So like
Yeah.
that's unless you got like one off the truck, like when they were selling all those like by
yeah,
the boatload.
I got one. I got
Yeah.
one a long time ago. Like
Yeah, and then it was $5. Then it qualifies as mid tier.
Yeah,
But
See, that's the thing that's tough is that, mid-tier mic, it's like it's harder to achieve that
yeah.
than it is because it's so easy to go one or the other way. Like you could either go all the way to the bottom where you're like just actually using like stuff that shouldn't even see the light of day.
it's an essence though. That's what it is. It's essence.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It needs to be like, for serious use, but of okay-ish stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is philosophical stuff.
It's
man.
philosophical. So like now that I rebuilt my gun at Sotar and had, him instruct me on like, better ways to bed the barrel and like all this other stuff, like I've tuned it up. So like, is it still mid-tier? After it's been consecrated as Sotar, that's arguable. Like, I don't even know if it is anymore. Like I may have lost the way. I might have to redo another one.
Yeah, that does make me want to like start one. Like get a starter gun, and then throw, like you said, like middle of the pack parts on it. Or
It's
even
basically
low,
like-
right? Because it's like the parts just have to work and not be shit. So it could even be low price or low tier, but it's the essence of it. I think I'm starting to understand. You just can't jump the gun and literally be like, "Oh, I'm gonna throw like like a $500 rail on it." So,
Right. So keep it middle of the road, and it should be the gun that you can just run really hard and train with, and something that it should be, if nothing else, reliable.
Yeah.
And that's I think what we're going for.
So what about the Battle Secretary Classic build, the 11.5? So like, basically like he's still kind of like piecing it together. But if you look at the actual drawing of like all the components, and he's done like a breakdown of most of the main components in the gun.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that gun being mid-tier mic status?
It's running an ACOG.
Yeah, he's got an ACOG and he has an offset T2.
Oh, that's way too Gucci. No. That is way too Gucci.
Sorry, Kelly is rocking too Gucci.
Kelly is Gucci.
I think at most, I feel like you can only have at most one name brand part on mid-tier mic, because once you go past 2, I don't think it qualifies anymore. Then
I think the aim point, I think a 2 MOA aim point is too Gucci. Like if you have to have the old 4.
Like an M2 comp.
Yeah.
But what if you have a T1? I mean,
that's what I meant. The T1.
The T1
with a 4 MOA.
Yeah, T1 4 MOA. Yeah.
I mean, but here's the thing though. Back in the day, like kind of like with the broom handle KAC grip, it's like back in the day when people didn't really care that much, you used to be able to pick up T1s for like 300, 400, So it is one of those things where like inflated pricing now, I think, is maybe elevating the status. If we're talking T2 or later generation, that's pretty Gucci. But if you got a T1 for like a pretty smoking deal, like I think people have picked them up at as low as $300 in the past.
Yeah, I got an R1 for that price.
See, so basically I kind of feel like that's one of those things where it's like maybe at the time you had picked it up and like you're using it on your build and you didn't spend 600 plus on the optic. Maybe that should qualify, even if it is a name brand component, right?
Yeah. I think that does qualify if you got a smoking deal. Like I think that could be the exception, right? Because like
there is a cost cap on that, right? So like if you're like, oh, what if I just do this like Razor? Like no, like Razor is the top of the line. Cortex is like if it's a Viper, so it's kind of like Strike Eagle,
yeah,
it's gonna be like Strike Eagle or a little bit better, So but Viper's pushing it, but you could probably rock a Viper as long as your mount was crap.
Dude, oh, yeah. Hey, I qualify. I have a loophole freedom, which is their fucking low tier line, and I have a monstrum mount on it.
See, yeah, no, you gotta put that loophole freedom, and then put that in a Badger C1, and then
That's the
into
essence.
mid. Yeah, that's the
essence
essence.
of mid
It's
tier.
balanced.
Yeah.
You're right.
You know,
You're right.
perfectly balanced, like all things should be.
You're
That's
right.
mid tier Mike.
Okay, yeah. I'm starting to get it now.
Actually, you could meme like the Thanos finger with the
Yes.
knife, but instead
Ooh.
it's a picture of a mid tier Mike balanced on his finger.
No, see, I like that where it's like you have one super Gucci part, and then it's like, and then the other parts are just like, why? You know,
Yeah.
it's like, or you have like this terrible like gun, just like build with like, you know, basically like not bottom, but like, you know, mid and bottom tier parts, and then you put like a Geisley trigger in it, like that.
It's kind of like that meme, that roasting meme they put on Reddit for like the gun community, where it's like where the budget ran out.
Oh yeah, oh I
It's
love that.
kind of
meme.
like that, but it's not like something that's so trash. It's just something where you're like, why are these two pieces together? Like, yeah, like why is he using a Badger C1 mount on a freaking Burris scope? Like, what's up with that? Like,
I mount my Surefire scout lights into a scope ring.
hey, that was operator. Okay, that was
like you have a Surefire
optimal.
light, but you're using a ring mount because it's a handheld light. Like, okay,
that's what we do though. Like we're not poor. It's like back in the day where it's like aim points. It's just like whatever. 1 inch ring is 1 inch ring, bro.
Yeah.
That's funny. That is good. This does make me want to try to build the essence of mid-tier Mike. You're always chasing it. It's such a fine balance.
If people give you guys submissions or something, if you want me to help sit in on like a council of judgment,
I like that.
Oh, we could have America's next top MTM.
Yes. We should do that. Yeah, we should go out and ask people on like, you know, social media. Send us your mid-tier bikes, and we'll see how well it qualifies. Especially from the founder of MTM himself too. Yeah. So we know. Yeah. So we know.
We'll write up some qualifications, like some of the things we discussed. We'll try and distill it into like a checklist, so people can like, you know, see if they imbibe the essence of MTM into their builds.
Yes.
And I think we need to pop.
I want it to be like is it Simon Cowell, where like he's like got like scathing like, you know, reviews. So like you're gonna have to bring the fire.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, I mean, you always have. It's gonna, you know, it's gonna be judgment from us. So it's gonna be, you have the good cop, bad cop, right? So you know, like one guy.
It's gonna be all bad cops. Like one of us is Ramsey. Like what was this?
What is this? Moron!
It's
like
fucking wrong.
Moron!
Nickel moron.
Nickel moron. Oh my god. Okay, that is funny. Yes, you know, and then
meme that.
Yeah, and
Gordon Ramsay yelling at someone with nickel boron in his hand, shaking fucking Voltaire groups at them.
Yeah, you know, I'll just be you know, and then one of us could just be a disappointed Asian parent. Just like,
oh man.
Dude, that's funny. We need
bullshit.
Yeah. What? Pero too short.
Okay, we're getting into like super racist territory.
No. Paige and I we were watching Stephen He last night on YouTube. His emotional damage.
Oh, I love that meme.
So
I love that
man.
Dude, Jackson. we should definitely do this content. And then,
speaking of the R word, actually, I don't think this was bad at all. But I was trying to make a meme. You saw like a post that like got blocked. I tried to make a meme to share with like you, BSEC, and like all the Northwest Asian bros, where it was like a picture from The Last Samurai of Tom Cruise riding on horseback with like, you know, the army. Yeah. And I can't, Ken Matsumoto, I think his name is, the famous actor, is next to Tom Cruise, and they're all like lined up, and it was like, if you do like Last Samurai, like horse battle scene or something, or just any one of the images, but it was basically like, you know, Tom Cruise with those dudes. And it was going to be something like, my feeling when roll up to the range with all the Northwest Asian boys, and I'm the only white boy in the squad. There
we go.
So I tried to save that and like meme it, and like I tagged like, you know, all the dudes, and then also like, Elevated Gluttony and some other guys who knows that feel, like when you go out and you're like the only dude. But it was just, I thought it was funny and in good humor, but apparently Instagram didn't like the fact. Maybe it's because that was a copyrighted image or something.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah,
But
maybe,
it was also maybe because I tagged the word Asian and white in the same thing or whatever, you know.
Of course.
So it wasn't like, I don't know. I thought it was just a way to be like, hey,
I have the opposite feeling.
No.
That I feel like I'm usually like the only Asian guy in the group. So for me, it'd be like Shanghai Nights, I guess. Like,
no, you can just put that picture up and then just say my feeling when I hit the range with the boys.
yes.
And then,
That's
you
good.
should be able to pick it up from context.
Yeah. I'll try it again. I'll try it like that. Maybe I might have to deep fry the picture a little bit. Yeah, that's a good one right there.
That feeling is when I hit the range with the boys.
Yeah, with the Weapon Outfitters and the boys like out there. Yeah.
All right,
really
so we got.
like
I saved the best question for last because we should be wrapping this up. All right, and this is going to be a big one. So you ready for this?
Oh, hit me.
Tax stamp or no tax stamp?
Ooh.
Oh no.
Of course, complying with your local laws and ordinances at all times and always in all shapes and factors. Yeah, I endorse that 100% and would never say otherwise or suggest otherwise.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay,
Jackson.
you heard it. Yeah, you heard it directly from Weapon Outfitters. Okay, so that's pretty much all we got time for today. Jackson, so you work for Weapon Outfitters. You got any plugs you want to throw down? Right now is the time to do it.
Okay. Weapon Outfitters, weaponoutfitters.com. Buy. Sign up on our email list. We send out coupon codes and first notice of like incoming product, hard to get stuff. You can always email us questions at info@Weapon Outfitters. We're on the Instagram as well, just Weapon Outfitters. No S on weapons. Remember that? It's just Weapon Outfitters. And Twitter, Instagram. There is a different side of the business, different aspect, the media side, which is there is a Patreon for that. But no good Christian boys there. Otherwise, it could be somewhat offensive. But check us out on social media. That's where we do most of our engagement. We do have a Discord that we operate through the Patreon. So a lot of people just talk about gear and shit posting there a lot. What else? My Instagram is Landosaurus, Lando, Lando Saurus. And I kind of just use it as something adjacent to kind of answer customer questions on the main channels, but then also just post pics of my dog and Paige and sometimes guns.
There's a new Instagram account for Weapon Outfitters, right?
Weapon Outfitters Crew. I might have done goofed. I think I got us locked out and we have to appeal it because I was I thought if I changed it was birthday and I was this is a business account, so I'll set the birthday to the founding of the business account. And so we got to appeal and get that unlocked. But it might
be hard to find because it's kind of small.
It's all shadow banned. Yeah.
Makes sense.
So we're going to be posting there more for the dudes in the shop where we're just
basically
having fun,
if you can find it, then props to you, man.
Yeah. If you know, that's it. And that's our goal. Esoteric marketing
Instagram.
and hard to find stuff.
Hey, it works. It works.
Yeah. Well, it usually means we have the stuff in stock after all the big dealers are out of stock, so always kind of last stop, but
and then you jack up the price. Perfect.
Yeah. So, bye. Hey man, I know what I got, Sonny. I know what I got. But yeah.
All right, well,
we usually have some exclusives and stuff because we are close to a lot of big companies in the industry, so we're a premium dealer for OpsCore. We sell lights, lasers, armor. What else? Night vision. Yeah, we're getting into that. And then a lot of AR-15 parts and accessories. Trying to expand more. Always into good use accessories for Glock. Now the SIG 320. Trying to get into that. But we have a new warehouse space. We're also going to be carrying some new stuff from Spiritus, getting their Mark IV. We're going to sell these starter packs. So it's basically a Mark IV rig with all the inserts, the axle, zipper, high top, as well as with the just a pouch. So it's basically going to be a range kit for people who, like myself, aren't that versed in nylon gear. Like Jared or Lo, I had to come to you a bunch for just gear questions because I just don't know shit about like the nylon space.
Yeah,
And
that's tough because a lot of people might not know what they need to buy. I mean, Spiritus does a pretty good job of explaining that, but at the same time, it's like for some people they might have a tough time picking and choosing the right parts. So like my friend, he was asking me some questions about this, and he showed me like his cart, and then I was like, well, do you need this part? Or like, oh, you're missing this part. So having a starter set might actually be like really useful for some people who just want to build off of something that's kind of already established.
Really good idea. That is absolutely, because I have no idea what I'm doing. I literally just have what I have.
Right. I think I had to go buy a carrier off of a e-bike because I needed a plate carrier like quick, fast, and a hurry. I had no idea what was good. So my buddies, like, of course, Faro and like all the Gucci ones were out of stock at the time. So my Eric, the professor, like counseled me and was like, "Hey, go get this Mayflower carrier, and it's pretty good. It's it's decent, did the job." But like when I started looking at the Spiritus stuff, like it's all a la carte, and I was like, okay, I know I need to learn this, but I'm busy at work. I'll come back to it, and I just never did. And then talking to you about the what's like a good way to have like a baseline kit. So this is like, hey, this is a chest rig slash placard for a plate carrier if you get one later, plus something on your belt to carry some essential kit. And if you pair that with a holster, then you're good to go and you're at the range. So
it's almost like we should do a video about that, Jeremy.
Well, listen, I've been real busy lately.
Okay.
This mid-tier mic and failing horribly at it. So
you're doing bad, bro. You need to tone it down.
Yeah.
We need to. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Hey,
No,
thank
it's
you
been
for
a blast.
joining us. I really appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man, VP of Weapon Outfitters. So thank you for taking the time to come onto our very small podcast and entertain us a little bit.
No, I appreciate it. Everyone got to do podcasts but me. So this is like, I don't know. This could just be a pity podcast. And, if it doesn't get published like that beard oil commercial, like, I'd understand. Like, I'd get it. But, I might be heartbroken.
Not enough black bills, I guess, to get canceled.
I can turn it up if you need, but
Well,
maybe
look
in
at the time.
future
Look at the time.
back.
Oh, weird.
Yeah,
I think you're going through a tunnel.
Yeah. All right. So basically, you can find us at dwais.videos for our Instagram, where you can get some sneak previews of BTS stuff. And then also, you're probably watching this on YouTube already, but you can also find a lot of our other content on our DWAI YouTube channel. Also, we have a Discord. So basically, if you're interested in talking to us about stuff directly, I don't know why you would, but if you do find us interesting, you can join us there. There should be a link on our YouTube page to get into the Discord and chat with us. And we have some new merch coming. I'm actually pretty excited about that because we found a local source with some help from the guys at Weapon Outfitters to produce some stickers and patches and stuff that are coming out sometime this year. So keep an eye out for that. And thanks for listening, watching, and hopefully we will see you again next time.
All right. How do we get that? We got to get that mid-tier mic competition started. And